but I haven't pledged since for like a very long time. I've pretty much given up.
You act like pledging is like an addiction. Like I haven't pledged for 6 months. I'm 6 months clean.
I am 6 months clean. I'm more than that.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's bad. But then you start, then they have like their little free fly every so often to where people that never played can get in, and then they can test it for free for like a week, right? And then that's how they start hooking more people. You give out game codes to people. They get streamers like you to just give them any form of type of advertisement like we're doing right now, and then everybody, then chat's like, I'm gonna go try for $40, and it just keeps building.
So it's like, you think that it's like one of those situations where like they don't mind or care whenever people make videos talking about how expensive the game is, because it's like luxury, I don't know, like conspicuous consumption, and so it attracts other whales anyway?
Or even the poor person with $5 in their dad's credit card. They are literally getting 23,000 people advertisement right now for free, right? And somebody's going to be curious.
I think they should give me the $48,000 package for free then. I mean, the way that you're saying it, I feel like that's just fair.
I mean, Zach, let's be real. You are like free advertisement.
I agree.
For these people, and
so
they should
true.
fucking just hook you up.
Absolutely.
Any of them.
Yeah, please, guys, listen to that.
It's just true. It's like it's free advertisement. It's not. I'm not like going. I'm not simping for Zach or anything.
No. But what I'm saying is like, so you're saying that Star Citizen likes people talking about this because it draws more attention to the movement, right? Because like here's 100%. what's so crazy about it is like, so I watched the Squadron 42 shit too, and like the tech demo and like the server mesh. And I'm gonna be honest, man, I can see why you gave him money. That shit was really promising and it looked amazing. I haven't seen a single thing that has ever been better than that. That's the best I've ever seen of anybody ever. So I get why people are giving the money. I totally do understand it. But after 11 years, like how much money do you think they need to finish the game?
I'll put it like this. They have the money to finish it. The issue was like 8 years ago, they put out a survey to like all the people that pledged and was like, do we want to complete the game, or do you want to just give us free reign to do whatever we want, because we want to make this the most realistic space simulator of all time. Right. And of course, all the idiots are like, we want the most realistic thing that you could possibly get, which literally gave them free reign, and there's no end in goalpost, right? And then when I started bringing this up, because I pretty much got blacklisted, I can't even buy ships on the black market that they have.
So what is so is it a black market or is it a gray market that's facilitated by the devs? How does this work?
I guess it's more gray market, right? So you are allowed to sell ships, and there's an X amount of times you can transfer a ship. It's usually like one, right? So I can buy a ship that's limited time, and then later on I can sell it.
So you can't buy and sell them as commodities. That's why there's a transfer limit. Is that the logic?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So it's out there. You could search for it. There's like multiple ones, and people buy ships on it that you can't usually get anymore, right? Or you can't get lifetime insurance on it, because once the ship has lifetime insurance when you bought it, it keeps all those perks that the ship has.
So that's like transferred over to the new owner.
Yes. Okay. And then also, like, so they release motorcycles, which is like $25 or $30.
Sure.
And somebody will buy like 100 of them. And it has lifetime insurance, but you can upgrade it. So those perks will upgrade to the next ship you upgrade to, right? Of a higher value.
So you start with lifetime insurance on a bad ship, and then you purchase your way up to a good ship so you can have lifetime insurance on the good ship. So they're not directly selling it, but they're selling it through extension by you kind of upgrading over a period of time. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much. That's how it goes. But they've gotten rid of lifetime insurance, right? So
this is a complete legacy feature.
Yes, it's a legacy feature. Like if you click on one of them on one of the ships during the regular through the ship right there tab that you have next to the packages,
it
should tell you it's insurance it usually comes with, right? And then they have different versions. They have like War Bond.
Is it
So a
under
war
like
bond-
tech interview or tech specifications?
It should
Structural?
just it's been a minute since I looked.
Okay.
But it should say what type of insurance it has. They could have gotten rid of it. I haven't looked, like I've said, I haven't looked at the shop in so long.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the ships, I mean, to be honest, this ship looks pretty cool. Like, I understand it entirely. But, like,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
that's a limited time one. So when they bring it out, I want to say it sells for like $700.
$700.
I want it. That's a Javelin, right? Like it's not
Yeah.
even in the game yet, except for NPC ships, right? And when it hits the store,
Yeah.
it sells out within like minutes. And
Wait,
it's crazy. I'm
whenever
like,
you
it's
say
a-
sells out, are you telling me that they only sell a certain amount of them?
yeah, I don't have this.
I
I've never
see.
paid that, right? But I've just slowly upgraded, and I bought like
Right.
just upgraded over time with certain packages and stuff. So, but yeah, people go insane. So when you play the game, right? So you're like,
Yeah.
I buy that ship. It's not in game. So what they do, they give you loaner ships in game right now. So you'll get like 5 different types of ships you can use until the ship comes out.
Okay, so it's not, so you're buying a ship that doesn't exist. Well,
Dude,
you're buying a ship.
half of the ships don't even exist. They used to have them on the what's it called, the roadmap on, we plan to release this and this, but then they revamped it because people were complaining because they kept releasing new designs of ships, or they'll come out with like some random ship that nobody wanted, and they haven't even finished half the ships that people have bought.
So basically, people are they're buying ships. Well, I mean, the ships never existed because they're in a game, but even in the game, they don't exist.
Majority of them, yeah. My dumbass
For a
buying
game
an
that doesn't exist.
NFT. We are buying NFTs.
Well, you're not. You're not, because an NFT you can transfer it as many times as you want.
Oh, you're correct. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's
I
worse.
mean, it's worth less than an NFT on most of them.
Yeah, no, exactly. Okay, so people can transfer them and sell them to each other through this marketplace, and outside of that, you basically probably can't do that unless you buy unless you buy an account wholesale. Is that pretty much accurate?
Well, you talking about like from the site? Yeah. In order to get an account through the site, you gotta pledge something.
So let's talk.
Or do the free flight.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about the Admirals Club and the concierge levels, because this is very interesting to me. So, how does this work?
All right. So like nobody knows about it. I didn't even know about it until I kept upgrading, and then I just got an email saying, "Hey, welcome to the Admirals Club."
So
And I'm
it's
like,
not
what the hell is that?
advertised anywhere. It's not like expressed anywhere. So like, do you think that they don't show that because like they're worried that it could create like bad press, or like is there ever any like, have they ever addressed why they don't make it public?
No, I'm pretty sure it's public. I just never came across it, right?
Sure,
Like
okay.
you have that, but I do know when they do tech releases or like they're doing patch releases that they have Evo Kadi people, which I want to say they're like beta testers and like
Yeah.
people that have spent a lot of money on the game, and they get into this special group that can test things without
Mhm.
anybody else seeing it. And then there's another phase after that they allow Admirals people to kind of like go in and check out the test universe. It's called PTU, Public Test Universe, and then they have like
And how
closed
much
test
money do you have
universe.
to spend to get into the public test universe?
Like once it's released to the public, it's pretty much anybody has the account, but then there's like another one that's just for the Admiral people. Like
Okay, so
it's
this
still
is
called PTU, but it's just released to us. So once you spend $1,000, you get into that one. But we'd have to find a big whale that. 'Cause
Okay.
I used to be in this. They have companies that it's kind of like a guild. That's what it is. It's a guild, and there's some that have interview questions, and they make you send a location of where you're at with your picture, like of a sign, so they can look at your address and know that you live there, because they're worried that it's going to turn into like that Eve stuff, with all the espionage.
So you're telling me that you have to dox yourself to get into these companies so they can hold your real life hostage if you betray them?
pretty much the big name companies, and they're huge. They have hundreds of thousands of members, right? It's crazy. And I knew when I was in one of them, I had what's it called? 5 people that I would game with that had multiple of those Legatus packages. That's the only reason why I know.
How? Like, so actually, here's a better question. Can poor people play this game, or is it just like, is it just as like real life?
Let's be honest, a poor person will play this game, right?
Right.
Because somehow, bad financial decisions.
Okay, so people can play the game through a series of bad financial decisions.
Hey, that's why they're poor, right? As you always say.
Yep, there it is, and you're right. Okay, that is incredible. So why would they buy multiple $25,000 packages?
Because they are prepping. These individuals think that this game is going to be as big or bigger than Eve, and you know how Eve is. You know, once you have your company or guild or whatever you want to call it, they always have the best ships, right? And multiple of them. And this is how they're guaranteeing that they have the ships.
Like the Titan ships and everything. Yeah, I get it.
Pretty much, yes. That's a guarantee. Now, don't get me wrong. The gentleman that said he has like 45, I hope he's a gentleman. Sorry, whatever.
Sure.
But has said he has 45 ships. He only bought one and got the other ones in games. So, yeah, you can get them in games, but they're millions and millions of credits, right? So it's a grind. So you can get the cheapest and you can grind up to it, right?
I understand. Okay, that makes sense. And you've spent over $1,000, so you're technically part of this concierge club. And do you enjoy any benefits that are provided to you by the people that make the game as a result of you being part of the Chairman's Club?
Look, I won't lie, I haven't used any of the benefits from the Chairman's Club.
Could you?
I mean, I guess I could.
Theoretically.
Yeah. I mean, I get emails, so I know when like special events are going to come out, and I get access to them like a few days before they're released, right? So that's why most of the ships I think get bought out because the chairmans and the ones above me know that they're coming out, and then they just eat it up before it even releases, and then once it's released to everybody in the public, it's already sold out.
So it's actually, and like, it's not really sold out, right? It's just that they stopped selling it because they want more people to buy it. Okay.
Yeah, how the hell can you sell out of a digital item?
Well, I mean, you can ask them. So what are your thoughts now? Like, you've obviously spent, you spent $1,000 on the game. Do you think that money was well spent? Do you think that it was like you regret it? Like, where are you at?
Well, let's be honest. Yeah, I wasted my money. Anything online, I do the dollar per hour rule type thing.
Okay.
I have not reached 1,000 hours in this, and I'm not even having fun because there's no release. There's nothing. It's not even a game. It's just a test. Right? Honestly.
Okay.
They can literally close up shop tomorrow.
Okay.
And be like, oh, we couldn't do it, and we can't do anything,
right? Yeah.
Because you pledged. It's like Kickstarter.
I know. I watched the Amber Heard trial. I remember this. Yeah, no, I remember this exactly. And so, yes, so basically, and is this like a common perspective that people that spend a lot of money then become jaded, or are like, does the community regard you as like a betrayer or as a person who has seen the light?
But back when I cared and I would argue with people, they were like, "Oh, you don't have faith. You lost faith." I'm like, "No, I want what they promised at the timeline they promised it." But people like you are so cucked by these people that you allow them to just move goalposts and you don't hold them accountable, right? So as long as nobody's holding Chris Roberts accountable, we're never going to get this game because they want it to be so realistic. Like, they are designing the ships to be modular. That's how they're getting down to the part where you can swap out a cargo bay.
Oh, like with Star Citizen, or not Star Citizen? Fuck, this is what we're talking about with Starfield.
Yeah, but they've
Yeah,
been
yeah.
doing this
Okay.
before Starfield, but it's
Sure,
going to
yeah.
look better, you know, because it's
Well,
supposed to be
it's hard
seamlessly
not to.
changed. You know?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
like I'm
yeah,
just I'm just saying like that's like it's like a one-to-one kind of like a conceptual comparison, right? Okay. I get that.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, and they have all these people who have spent so much money. Like I could be one of them,
Right.
and just be like, no, that's going to come. I mean, let's be
So you
honest.
think
Come
it's
on.
like sunk cost fallacy? Is that where you're getting
It's
at?
pretty much. I think
Okay.
they're at that point to where they put so much in, they have to believe it's going to happen, right? I mean,
Okay.
$1,000 over what 5 years for me.
Hmm.
That's really not crazy, you know.
No, no, that's like really kind of reasonable for almost any hobby. I mean, fuck, people that play Warhammer probably spend that on a weekend. So yeah, I
True.
get that. I understand that. Well, I mean, I want to say, man, there's a couple of other people I'm going to talk to about the whole situation, and so I'm going to probably try to call one of them and see what's going on. But I want to say, like, I had no idea about this. Like, I did this. This is crazy. Like, this seems like a pretty deep rabbit hole to go down. Like, this is nuts. Holy shit. So
Oh
thank you very
yeah.
much, man. I really appreciate you coming on
Oh,
and
no
talking
problem.
about
And
it.
if you have any more, just let me know. I mean, I'll send you more screenshots of
Oh
whatever. I
boy,
don't
oh
care.
boy.
Whatever.
All right, man. Well, thanks a lot. I really appreciate you coming on. I'll see you later, man.
Thanks, boss.
All right, dude. Peace. Man. Man. Guess what? We got a round 2. We got somebody else. Hey, what's going on, man? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. How you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. And I was looking at this thing. Obviously, this is sketch therapy from in chat. We had a little bit of friction getting him on Discord. Welcome to the stream. So you've spent money on Star Citizen. Is this correct?
I spent a little, nothing like what he's talking about. And I spent on the MMO mode. This person, and there are some people that are very bitter about the majority of the community leaning into the MMO mode and steering away from campaign mode. At some point, there was a big vote and say, all you people who paid money, let's see what you want. And the vote went, hey, we like MMO. It's like GTA, but in space. And the people that said, no, we want more campaign mode, lost. Some of them stayed very bitter.
Well,
and
the
says, "No, you
campaign
promised me
the
a
campaign mode is
I want my campaign mode."
right.
But
That's
it's like
Squadron
GTA.
42, right?
That's the Squadron 42.
So they're still getting it. It's just that it's a separate game.
It's a separate game, yes.
How much money
Well,
did you spend?
I spent $45, then I spent about 20 more for upgrades, but this is like over years.
What
So if
made
look
you
at it like a
stop spending
Netflix
money?
subscription,
What made you
Excuse me?
stop? What made you stop spending money? Like you were spending money, you haven't spent
well,
money.
I have the same access and I can get all of the same ships
Uh-huh.
in game, so I have no need to spend money. Like
So
all
you're
of
happy.
these games, you
You're
see that one
satisfied.
890, I can just buy that in game. It's easy to get credits.
Really? Okay. So like this big ship right here, it looks like kind of the like a space Titanic. You can just
yeah,
buy
I
this
have
yourself.
that, but I didn't pay real cash. I have that because I did a couple of missions.
How many
a lot of
missions?
missions,
How
like
long did it
20.
take for you to farm this? Like hours.
About 2 days, 3 days.
That doesn't mean out. You could play like, is this 4 hours a day, 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day? How long?
Okay, let's say I play 4 hours a day, about 4 days, let's say.
Okay, so 16 hours nets you this ship. How much money is it?
That one was 32 million when I bought it, but I was doing missions that I could get 2 million, 3 million. I was doing salvage.
Uh-huh.
And when you would salvage these ships, sometimes these ships you salvage, they had cargo in it, and you can
Right.
sell the cargo. So I would just sell the cargo, sometimes it with drugs. So I would sell the drugs in the ships that I was salvaging, and I made like 200 million, so I got almost every ship in the game. Because as soon as a game is flyable, as soon as a ship is flyable in game, you could just buy it in an in-game store. So every time they have a new content ship that's released, you don't have to suffer the FOMO. If you wait a patch, by the next patch, it's buyable in game. They don't paywall anything for long. because if they paywall any, I have that ship. I have most of these ships. I have them.
This is a cool ship.
If you paywall, I have a lot of cool ships. If you paywall anything for a long time, the people hate you.
Right.
So what they do is, okay, let's only paywall it for a little while, and let's make all the credits exchangeable. So let's say you bought this ship and you want to upgrade it, but then you change your mind and you want to buy a really cheap ship. Well, you could turn it into credits, buy a cheap ship, buy a whole bunch of ships in game, and the other money you spent, you could exchange it for paints or guns or whatever, and not ever spend again.
So here's the problem that I have with what you're saying, and I'm curious to how you're going to respond to this. If it's so fucking easy to get these ships in game, then why the fuck are people giving the developers $50,000?
Some people spend $15,000 at the tables in Vegas. Who am I to judge how people spend their money? Some people are just rich.
Okay.
Some people, they spent $1,000, but they spent $5-10 a month and watched it more than they watched their Netflix over 3 years, and they slowly got up there.
So you think that actually, like, you are a Star Citizen believer, is that correct?
I am a Star Citizen believer in you're responsible for your purchases. So if you don't have money for big ships, you know for a fact, if you're a player, that you don't have to. You can wait for the next patch and just buy a little game. The game isn't going to play itself. If you play the game, you get the ships.
Well, let's talk about the game playing itself. Do you think the game's ever going to release?
I hope it doesn't.
You hope it
Games that
doesn't?
get released treat their players like garbage.
So, wait,
I
hold
like
up.
MMOs because they got to keep the people happy.
Whoa, okay, let me, all right, we gotta step back for a second. So you're saying, well, like, how does the MMO come out? How do people play the game if it doesn't get released? Like, what do you mean by, I think that
because
the framing
title
of the word
release has this false meaning that is like you can't play it. Right now, on Twitch, you browse, look for Star Citizen, you're gonna find, let me check. I can check for a second. You're going to find like 1,000 people playing the game. So when he says it's not released, that's kind of a lie because you can play it right now.
So I could log on right now and I could play Star Citizen.
There's 5,000 people playing it right now.
There's a lot of people playing the game. Surprising amount of people, actually.
Look at this guy, Burks. Real nice guy. Lots of people watching. Great guy. There's a lot of people playing the game. So when they say it hasn't released, these are people bitter that their GTA campaign mode didn't come out like they wanted. And when they want it, and they're mad because they want that MMO mode. Not everyone. I don't want to cast judgment, but some people.
Are you over 25 years old?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you remember...
I'm a 3rd Infantry veteran.
Oh, there it fucking is. All right. And so you remember the ancient text of whenever a game would come out and it would be called feature complete, right? You remember that? Where like a game...
people say that, but lately that's meaningless.
Well...
I'd rather hear the truth. Hey, it's not really finished.
Okay. Well, wouldn't you want to hear something better than the truth, which would be that it is going to be finished eventually, right? Like, because like I'm sure that they have features that they're planning on adding, and these features aren't fully completed.
Well, I've seen it personally.
You've seen it.
I've seen them increase the server size. Like the last server test was 800 players in one player shard, all with different ships.
Did they have to do any
planets,
time dilation? Did they have to do any time? Eve does time dilation. That's my understanding.
No. It's
no
all
time
real
dilation.
Time. It's all like there's no shortcuts. Like it's all real time. You can move faster, but there's no what do you call it? Loading screen. There is no load. It's like GTA. Basically, you're playing GTA in space.
Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at this video. It says Star Citizen 800 players together.
Yeah, that's.
This is what we're talking about. This is all the players.
That's all the players, one server, all going to different. It's huge. It's like GTA, but like 1,000 times bigger.
Right. Okay. So all of this stuff is available to do right now.
Right now.
You can do all this right now.
The server meshing test for 800 players was already done. It's supposed to go up. It was successful. They're supposed to integrate it in a patch or two.
Yes.
Like by the end of the year, that's supposed to be done because the test was successful. They've added salvaging. They've added like server meshing, which is a very tough thing in computing. Like real time, like you remember you saw a video where they go like real time. You can do that in the game now. It's not like, oh, they're gonna be able to
So
do
do
that.
I have to
No,
buy
you
an
can do it now.
expensive ship to do that? Like, what if I spend $100, can I get a ship
No,
that can do that?
No,
No
you don't
problem?
need to spend 100. $45.
$45. Okay.
Look, just try it. All I'm saying is just try it for $45. You don't
Okay.
have to get all the chat to pay it.
Right.
It's
right.
just $45. Just get in the MMO. There's going to be bugs because they're working out a way for the MMO to have a lot of people. They want Eve first person.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, it's going to be hard to do that. I feel like it's possible. And like if you can have 800 players, so were you part of that 800 player test?
I was, but I'm not in the video.
Okay. What was your experience doing that? And was it laggy? Was it problematic? What happened?
You can tell the difference a little bit when you move from one server to the other. There's like a little bit of a boundary thing.
You ever played
like
WoW?
When you throw a missile, it'll kind of like veer off a little.
Did you ever play
but
WoW
it's
before?
like the first version.
Have you ever played WoW?
I haven't, but
Okay.
I've seen your videos on it. I'm a big fan of your work in general.
Well, I appreciate
don't mean
it.
to,
Thank you.
You know, brown nose, but it's just a fact.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I was asking because, like, you know, in WoW, like, you go from phases and, like, server, like, shards as well. And, like, you can kind of tell whenever it's happening, whenever, like, players despawn and respawn. I was curious if it's the same thing, if you had played it. But, yeah, I'd have to see it for myself.
No.
Okay.
There's no despawning because that would be like a loading screen
Yeah.
between servers, and they don't do that.
Okay.
The whole thing is to avoid that and make it so, like, let's say I drop a gun next to a bunker, I'll be able to find that gun in 3 days still there. Nothing despawns.
So if you think that the MMO, like, when do you think that all of the features that they are expecting and promising for the MMO will be complete?
Okay, I'm hoping they never ever stop.
Well, you would hope that they'd finish the things that they've promised, right? Whenever you're saying you're hoping...
Would you hope that WoW stops? Or would you hope that they keep making it better, adding areas, making it more seamless?
I think that I think there's a bit of a miscommunication. Let me see if I can ask it in a different way. So what I mean is that what you're saying is that you don't want them to stop developing the game. I agree with you. I understand that point. But what I'm saying is that there are core functionalities that are being promised at this point that have a beginning and end. Of course, I would want them to do additional functionalities after that and start working on those functionalities as well. What I'm saying is that for the existing functionalities that have already been promised, when do you think the timeline of those will be finished? Does that make sense?
A year, maybe 2. Like most of it, the biggest trouble is meshing servers, because meshing servers is a tough technology, because you got to see which servers takes control of which thing, how many players you're having in an area. Well, if you have a lot of players in one area, you have to dynamically assign a server to them.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you're in WoW. Well, it's a big map, but a lot of the people are in one place. So let's assign a server there, so that you have good interaction and you're very well synced. Right now, the sync isn't good, right? A lot of times there's a little bit of desync. It's buggy. It is an alpha, right? But the core technologies that they're making is very breakthrough. That's why they're working on the Star Engine. They're smart. Like, if anybody out there is a Gundam fan, well, imagine you could play a GTA in space, but it's like the Gundam Universal Century, and you could just fly your Gundam from one planet to the other. That's what they could do in the Star Engine, right?
That'd be fucking crazy.
They would have even more money because they could just license that tech out.
Of course, right? Yeah, exactly. Because people would want to use this engine if it's anywhere near what they're advertising it to be. Yeah, and I think it's incredible. I mean, really, if you look at the tech for the game, if all of these things come out and they are as good as they're promised, this will be better than everything else. Everything you're watching in that
video is there now.
Okay. So now that like, so how do you feel about like these really expensive purchases, like things like the $48,000 pack? Like, as somebody
If you got $48,000,
if you have two players that are going up against each other, one player has spent $10,000, the other player has not. All other things being equal, who has the advantage?
well, what's the goal? What is the win condition? It's GTA. I mean, I don't have to, we're not competing. You have your 10,000, maybe you have a really high paying job. You don't have the time to grind, so you just pay. It's your money. Who am I to judge? Right? You're not going to fly better than me. You're not going to beat me in a dogfight
So you
because
don't...
I have more time to practice. So I'll just stomp you.
I mean, I can't argue with that logic. I can't. I mean, there are a few things I could say, but I think that makes a lot of sense. That's fucking funny, man. And
I think
okay,
there's a
go
lot
ahead.
of misconceptions here because why are we worried about people that have $48,000 to spend on? Who are these people?
Well,
Why
here's
am
the
I worried
reason.
about it?
Did you play Diablo Immortal?
No.
Good. So what people would do in Diablo Immortal is they would spend $10,000 and they would one-shot other players in PvP, and you wouldn't be able to do anything about it. That's why people are worried about it.
That doesn't work here.
It doesn't.
Nope.
So okay, how does so, bro?
It's
This is
FPS, man. I mean, if you get shot, you get shot. There's no amount of pretty guns and skins is gonna make your bullet better.
yeah, but if you got 500 health, you got an advantage over somebody that's only got 100, right? I mean,
Well,
you gotta look
if
at
you
that.
got 500 health and you know how to move that. Remember, my ship has 500 health. The only
Right.
thing is, it took me a little longer to get it.
Okay. That all right, okay. So you're not concerned.
I have all the same ships.
You're not
You
concerned.
gotta remember that.
At
While
all.
he was out grinding, I'm a retired. Right. This is like my game therapy. You
Okay.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I have an advantage over the guy that has a lot of money because when he comes into the game, he doesn't know what he's doing. He has less of an advantage because it's an alpha. And I know all the latest updates. I know the latest meta. Like, what happens when a WoW player comes and spends a lot of money, but you've been playing all day, so you know the meta, and their fans.
Well, at the end of the day, that guy is still. I think your mic's breaking up, by the way. At the
I'm
end.
sorry.
Yeah, you're good. At the end of the day, like that guy's got the mount, right? He's got the achievement. He's got the rewards from the game. So, like, if you can buy something, they're definitely. I think it 100% cheapens the reward of the game. So, what is really like? What's the point of the game? Like, what do you do?
Have the same mount.
Yeah.
The reward of the game, it's like GTA. When you get with a whole bunch
Okay.
of friends in GTA and you go rob a bank, and there's events like that where you go,
Right.
there's like a drug running facility, right?
Mhm.
And there's a bunch of people that want to take over, and you and your guys want to take it over. It's called
Right.
like a Jump Town mission. Bed Banana has a great video on it, The War for Jump Town. It's like one of their most famous, like, player playing the game videos. Bed Bananas, Jump Town, great video. Well, when you watch it, and this is like an old video, it's just a bunch of player versus player action. And these guys got basically nothing. They basically like ganked everybody, took their stuff, blew up their equipment. It was crazy, but because it's basically an FPS and skill matters a lot more than what ship you have, the game becomes like this thing where the money doesn't matter. If you have a lot of money, you can jump in the game faster. That's not going to make you better.
Okay.
And it'll be really hard to impress people with buying a fancy paint or something because they got your same ship and they can do the same stuff. It's
So,
like, oh, your paint looks real nice, and the ship you had, I just exploded.
so what would you say to people that say Star Citizen is a scam?
Well, I'd say you need to worry about your pocket instead of other people's money. Because why are you worried about what other people do with their money? Are you picketing at Vegas because Vegas is taking $10 and $20,000 from people at the table? You mad about who spends on game? Why aren't you picketing at Vegas? They got an unfair advantage. Is that a scam?
Yes.
Why am I worried about a guy that spends $48,000, especially if I can get that same amount of chips for $45? Why? And that's half the price of most games right now, because most games right now are like $70.
It's getting
bucks
more.
if you wanna be
Yeah,
exclusive?
130. Yep, absolutely.
So why am I worried about these people? Why am I worried about these whales? Why am I crying to the heavens? Oh no, the poor whales. I don't care about these people. I'm not worried about. They're probably rich. They're probably happy. They probably got a nice family, and they spent this. They spent on this instead of the tables at Vegas. And if you got a problem with spending, you need to see your doctor.
Ain't that a fucking fact? Ain't that a fucking fact? So you think that the people that are complaining about Star Citizen are totally fucking
A
delusional?
lot of the people complaining aren't the people spending.
So they're just complaining for the sake of complaining. Like
You know, I bet a lot of people that complain about your opinion on a game they never played.
I bet that's true. I agree with you. Holy
I
shit.
bet there's a lot of people in the chat very angry about the guy who spent $48,000, but they never played this game. They never saw it till today, but they're fuming. They're very angry. How dare that guy give his money?
What is the most amount of money that you've heard that somebody has spent on Star Citizen?
Well, I just saw that there's a 48,000 Legatus pack, so I'm guessing that's a thing. But I mean, what's the most amount of money you heard somebody spent at the tables at Vegas? Are we mad at them? How many did they spend on the ponies?
Yeah, it's dumb, but like, you know, they're gonna do what they're gonna do with their own money, right? I know one guy, actually know two guys that really spend a lot of money on gambling, and so yeah, I understand it really well.
But do you judge them, or are you like, hey, it's your money?
Well, I do. I think it's a bad idea. I don't think it, like, I mean, I'm not saying, like, I do think it's a bad idea. Like, I do have an opinion about it. I do think that it is, it's dumb. I think it's dumb. But it's their money. They can do what they want with it. I see where you're coming from. And
I'm with you there.
yeah, like, I am judgmental. I am a judgmental person. However, I understand that my judgments are subjective.
Okay, but like,
Yes.
imagine you could get all that stuff for free.